You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the August 22nd, 2023 meeting of the LaPorte County Planning Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
We're going to call the LaPorte County Planning Commission to order for Tuesday, October 22nd. Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If you have cell phones, and I don't say pagers anymore, I don't know if anyone's got pagers, but please turn them off to silent or vibrate. You probably don't know what pager is. Roll call, please.
Tony Hendricks.
Here.
Earl Cunningham.
Here.
Rita Beatty.
Here.
Joe Haney.
Present.
Deb Vance.
Here.
Glenn Minnick.
Here.
Harold Parker.
Here.
John Carr.
We have quorum.
Skin of her teeth.
Is there approval of the agenda as presented? I think we might have to amend it, right? Are we amending the agenda or are we just tabling? Okay. Approval as the agenda as presented?
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Any changes, additions, corrections, deletions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of minutes from July 25th, 2023 as presented.
Approval of the minutes.
Second.
So approved. There's a motion and a second. Any changes, additions, corrections, deletions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Petition number 1 from last month is Byron Hamilton Jr. Petition the Planning Commission to vacate one public roadway south of 804, 808, 812 East 2nd Street. Do we have a motion to take that off the table, or we just legal?
Yep, we need a motion.
Motion to take it off the table.
So moved. Second.
In a second, take it off the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Floor is yours, Mr. Hamilton Jr. And you recall this was the right-of-way between him and the co-op? And it's a 30-foot wide right-of-way, right?
Yep.
Zoned R1B.
Yep.
Last we left, the discussion was the setback if he vacates it. If he vacates it, he gets 15 foot and the co-op gets 15 foot. I guess we should leave it to Mike or Doug. Did anyone get back with you about co-op?
No, I tried several times to reach them down in Indianapolis and left voicemails. No return call.
My son talked to Steele about that. He's the head of that
What did he say?
conglomerate.
They would get
He
half.
didn't know. He had to look into it. He didn't know anything about it.
They would get half of it.
They've had ample time to respond to our voicemail messages. Oh, I think we're ready to take care of business.
Any discussion from the board? How would they like to?
I'd like to see a map exactly what's being vacated because we seem to have some discrepancy. We're only vacating an alleyway and
Last month we vacated the alleyway, right?
Yes.
Yes. This month we're talking about the road.
this is not being
That's not
vacated.
being vacated. That
That's
access
what
is
we're
still
talking about. That's fine.
just the hash part.
You're just doing this down here.
You're doing this and this alleyway.
The alley was vacated last month.
Okay.
So does this road stop here then, or would that be a?
It stops here.
They would have access to the co-op through that property
Okay.
if anyone developed it.
And I'm told there's a proposal that it will be left undeveloped.
If you so choose to put that in your motion. For
You don't
setback
have any
purposes.
intention of building anything on it?
None.
You're just going to clean up your 15 feet and
Oh no, I'm trying to put a berm and put
berm.
trees to
Right.
stop
yeah.
the flow of corn dust, the smell, there's a lot of things going on in the backside of that co-op. So that's what I'm trying to do. And actually, one of my neighbors started it, and I figured you might want to try to do this the right way and go through all the right channels. So that's what I'm trying to follow the process.
How high do you think you'll go?
5 feet.
Any other discussion? Pleasure of the board.
I move to approve the vacate.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thanks for clearing that up for us.
Petition number 2. I'm looking at Mike here because, or in legal.
Making a second trip.
So, they did not get the notice in time.
He's fine.
I would recommend that the board,
Earl,
Said thanks for making a second trip.
go make another trip.
They did,
petition number 2, didn't get the notice in time. So I recommend that this board table that.
motion to table.
I motion it.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Old business, solar discussion. Anyone? Doug?
That's it. I mean, I've got some revisions to it, and I think my impression was the commission kind of wanted to wait a little while to see what was going to come down.
Any new information?
So what we've done so far is ready, but if you want to let it sit, we can let it sit.
Because I want to move this right into, unless anyone has anything, right into JZO discussion, which is changing the ordinance that you drafted, but we might want to look at some other things.
In BZA, we've got 2 issues that come up on a consistent basis, and one of them is storage containers. I think we should address that because it's comes up a lot.
Yeah.
Now, also semi-trailer, truck trailers used for storage. Those are 2 things that or 3 things that I know of. I'm thinking there may be some more stuff, or the public has something. I would suggest we set this for a workshop to see if we have any more public input. We have to go through a specific process to change it, and it's not arduous, but we have to publish, and I have several steps I have to follow. So if we're going to make changes to the code, and I don't think we have for over 5 years, so there may be other issues we're not aware of with the workshop that could bring those to the surface, and we could get them all done at once, because I try not to update, revise the code every year or too often. So
what are you doing? What are you pointing?
my advice would be for the plan commission to set a workshop, probably for a regular scheduled plan commission meeting, and we put it out to the public, give notice to see if we have any other input as to any other revisions or updates we should make to the code.
So have you listed your updates or revisions, or is that still up?
No, I did the 0401 that Tony wanted, but I haven't done any other revisions because I don't know what the plan commission's feelings are on these, at least the 2 items I'm aware of, and there may be more.
So if the plan commission,
So the storage containers cannot be put into a residential area without a variance, correct?
Right.
I don't even think that the variants are allowed under the current JZO, if I remember reading correctly.
We're unclear. That's why I want to get this cleared up, because the BZA is the last 2-3 years we've gotten more of them, but before that we never heard about the storage
It's
containers.
just too easy for a resident to call, order one, have it put on their property, not set in place, and it's going to cost the residents money because we just keep telling them they need to move it on.
right.
And that's the problem Doug's talking about.
And I'm predicting ultimately it may cost the county more money in attorney's fees because I've got to take action to get those removed. I'd like something more solid in our code to work with long term.
So the workshop allows the plan commission to publish these 3 items and then have the public talk about them next meeting.
Well, I don't think we have to publish the items
Or
specifically.
send them out.
Let the public know we're going to have a workshop on input on revisions to the code, because there may be something else out there that we just haven't run across the BZA that it should be addressed.
But specifically these 3 things.
Right.
Do we have an estimate as to how many storage containers are sitting around in the county right now?
A lot.
A lot. As I'm driving around checking different things,
Which hour?
there've got to be
Come and
hundreds
go.
throughout the county that are technically, I think, in violation of JZO. I mean, most of them are well placed. I think we also need to think of some sort of permitted or exempted use for agriculture, for example, because right now the way I read the JZO is you can't even get a variance on agricultural. Basically, you need M1 or M2. M1 is variance and M2 is permissible. I think that's the only way to get storage container.
Right. And we don't have real good regulations on how to attach them to the ground.
Yeah. No.
So anyhow, I think a workshop would be a good place to discuss this and let the public know, inquiry as to whether or not there are any other revisions that they want.
We're going to set a workshop for September. We'll set a workshop for September as the first item in the agenda for public input. Mitch, input?
Yeah. So, as you may know, LaPorte City just revised, and we had a meeting not probably 2-3 months ago right now, but they just revised. They had a review of their entire JZO, which they had the same document we have, by a planning professional, and they shared that with me, and I gave it to Doug and Mike about 3 months ago. We should probably do a review of that and see what the professionals recommended as well.
Yes.
Well,
Makes them a professional.
Certified land.
hourly rate, maybe, I don't know.
It was a planning firm out of Chicago, I believe, or Indianapolis. Well, they might have. I think they might have sub offices too in other places. I think they had I think they had 7 different offices. I think one was in. I think one was in Fort Wayne and maybe West Lafayette. Yeah. So.
You can bring those to the workshop.
Yeah, I might add, for those in the planning commission that are not aware, David McCain on behalf of the city of LaPorte, Steve Hale on behalf of Michigan City, myself for LaPorte County, spent 6 months making sure that the code was integrated for economic development purposes and that it was consistent amongst the municipalities in the county. Apparently, no longer.
Yes. General. All right, so we'll set a workshop for next month. The other new business we have is, I guess the commissioners have set a standard price for legal attorneys for boards and commissions, and we need to make a motion to retroactively to, what is this, May 7th, 2023, to accept that $175 an hour approval for legal work. So this board is on record with that increase in the hourly rate. Is there a motion to
Make it.
accept the commissioner's hourly rate and retroactive to 6/7/23?
I'll make
Is a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There we go. So on the record. Any other new business?
I would like to bring up one thing. From time to time, we table things, and I think that we should give our petitioners the option to request a table as well, because if we only have 6 people here, they have to get 83% of those 6 people, when if we have 9 people here, they only need 55%. So it puts them at a tremendous disadvantage when we don't have sufficient people here to hear. And I just think we ought to give them that warning night of the meeting. We're down to 7 people, so now you need 71% instead of 55%. Are you willing to take that chance? Because we don't let them come back next month when we got 9.
Yeah,
It just seems like that would make sense that we, maybe when you send out the stuff, they can come in here and count us.
That's a good idea.
Or maybe we should put it at the top of the agenda. I don't care how we do it. We should have, they should be informed rather than come up here when there's only 5 people here that they have to have 100%.
I'm looking at Rita because I believe that's happened several times.
A couple years ago.
Where
Yeah.
the attorney or the petitioner realizes that, or we inform that, and then they ask the table.
May want to, if we know we don't have a full plan commission, I would suggest
We
that
need to
we
inform them.
inform them prior to presentation on the committee of the petition. That way, if there's any remonstrators, they understand what's going on too.
Yes.
Because 2 or 3 years ago, we had several meetings where we didn't have quorum.
Yeah,
Right.
we did.
All right.
I would just add we're currently down a member right now because the Purdue extension,
Doesn't have
we
it.
don't have that appointment as of yet. So
Any headway?
I haven't heard.
And I apologize for last month. It's the first one I've missed in probably 20 years, so I apologize.
No problem.
I'm still upset about that.
They have to be one of their employees, or can they just name someone else?
It's a designee from them. I mean, the statute's pretty specific as to each seat, but as far as that person, it's not a job. It's just it's an appointment from that entity.
Right. So they could name somebody else that's worked with Fair Board or with Flint and Water or somebody else. It doesn't have to be a Purdue employee.
No.
I think, and there's no reason they can't find some to do that. Maybe they aren't aware of that.
I'm not sure that's not every Purdue employee.
I could double check the statute.
I think it has to be that position.
Well, okay, I'll double check the statute to make sure it's not a specific.
Because I was really questioning when he was on last year.
Okay. Well, I could double check in the report next meeting.
I think I remember that with Harold. There was something about that position. Their appointment to the Plan Commission was commensurate with that position.
Oh, give me a second.
Do they have someone in that position?
No,
They don't, do they? Yeah, they haven't filled that.
no. I'm not living in Lafayette, working up.
All right, if I may, I'm better than I thought I was. I got it right here. It says verbatim, the county agricultural extension educator. However, the county agricultural extension educator must be a resident of the county to serve under the subdivision if, and then it goes on.
So what is that position?
But
Yeah, so yeah,
he shouldn't
specific.
have been appointed in the first place.
Yeah, he did.
I believe that position is out for hiring, isn't it?
He lived here all his life.
Yeah.
So what's it say if they don't reside in the county? What's the next alternative?
Okay, yeah. If they're not a resident of the county, the county extension board shall select a resident of the county who's a property owner with agricultural interest to serve on the commission under the subdivision, not to exceed 1 year.
So they could appoint somebody.
That's simple, and that's, we send that to them and say, we need an appointment.
Good. Find somebody, please.
In a non-voting advisory capacity. Non-voting advisory capacity.
So they wouldn't be able to vote?
No,
Wait a
it's
minute.
a non-voting member of the extension. They can't appoint one of their voting members.
Okay.
No, it says shall serve the commission in a non-voting advisory capacity.
Oh.
So they're here, but they can't vote.
Oh,
What's the point?
doesn't help us any.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, so what good was that?
Need to fill that education position. And it's out for bid, right?
That's asinine.
Yeah, it's like, why have them here if they can't vote?
Right. Well, we know what to do. We need to ask our legislators to clear that up next session. Clean that up for us.
Right.
Not to further complicate this,
Yes.
and this is a separate thing, but like what we were talking about earlier, revisions to the JZO. I'm looking to update our technical design manual for stormwater, rather than add to an already thick JZO. We could just once that's completed, we could add a sentence to the JZO under that Article 20 or 23 that refers to the technical design manual once that's completed. And I'm not going to, I mean, I'll be doing that sometime in 2024. I'll bring it back to you then.
That's intense.
I got one more thing I'd like to bring up.
Yes.
Has anybody watched this
Teacher.
Lebanon deal? This 7,000 or 9,000 acres, I guess, now the state bought for industrial.
No.
Well, they don't have any water, much like our northern part of LaPorte. So their answer is to build a viaduct to West Lafayette for 28 miles and divert 1 million gallons of water an hour, 24/7, to fill their needs for water for the industrial park if it ever gets going.
Wow.
I'm old enough to remember when they tried to come after the Lake Michigan. Arizona did. They were going to reverse a pipeline and make that fresh water line. So they,
But the compact stopped it.
yes, that's why the Commission for the Great Lakes was convened to protect Lake Michigan's
They're taking
water.
water out of the Wabash instead of the White.
That's what they're talking.
Wow.
Pretty hush hush. They've got all that ground annexed into the city, so the county commissioners have no no work they can do on it.
Wow.
Do they have a problem with wells not producing?
They don't have wells down there.
Oh, they can't
They
drill?
don't have deep water.
Oh, we have deep
They
wells.
have water in pockets. I'm not talking about wordage. And they're talking about tapping one of them. And at that rate of water, that would be
Yeah, you drain the.
done. So I just want to make you aware of this. Water wars is a big thing, you know. We're blessed that most of our county has enough water. But you get down La Crosse and they can't do a deep well either. Those 30, they have to have those linear wells. So if you start draining all the water out of them streams and waters to go to, you know, you're going to lower the water table and maybe making that non-functional area too, you know. It's something to watch.
All right, thanks for
And there's
bringing
some
it up.
other worries about the state of Indiana being brokers for land, buying up acres and then putting it out there for bid. It's not a private entity, it's the state of Indiana. So. It's something to watch coming over the hill.
All right,
Please, thank
we'll
you.
look into it. Anyone else? Yes.
Yes, Mr. President, I have one thing at the last hazmat right to know EMA meeting I was at. One of the issues that came up was storage and handling of highly flammable liquids, gels, and other materials. We've had an incident locally here where a local plant, 3 different occasions had 3 different fires. Now we've had, you know, tens of thousands of dollars in damage to fire equipment. You know, one person was injured. There's an injuries. And I'm curious if, in speaking with everybody, it's a huge concern. Is there something we can look at in the JZO to put some better guardrails around, you know, some of these hazardous materials, you know, highly flammable things, and kind of box them in a little bit to make sure maybe it's you need a variance for it as opposed to a permitted use or something along those lines to box this in, because this is going to continue to be a problem moving into the future. And it's one thing that we've had issues with. So like drainage, for example, when this liquid that's highly flammable flows out and burns off, the EPA said, well, it all burned up. So even though it goes down into the ditches, which makes its way into the waterway, they're thinking, well, it kind of all burned up. And it's every agency out there, from EPA to IDEM, they all seem to be kicking the can back and forth. And I think maybe trying to address this in the JZO is something to really lock down what is and isn't permissible. And if they're going to have something like this, make sure that they follow all the best practices instead of using, you know, equipment that's 50, 60, you know, 80 years old in some cases.
We can certainly take a look at it. This area is a lot more complex than one would think, because in a lot of areas, the federal rules and regulations, they supersede whatever we would try to pass.
Okay.
So if there's a hole, yes. But if it's covered by IDEM or EPA or one of those agencies, however they assert their jurisdiction on the issue, we may or may not be able to do something. Okay, but we could certainly take a look at it. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, I would love to. I think it would really help our first responders here in the area as well, because if these things continue to happen, somebody's going to die from it. You know, I don't see any other way around it. It's been pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I'm glad you brought that up. We're actually going to meet Thursday at 2:00 in Michigan City to discuss the local situation that you were referring to. So we'll be meeting and discussing it. I don't know what will come of it, but we are going to meet and discuss it.
Yeah, thank you.
Is it southeast?
Southeast.
And that too. Yep.
It's like your backyard.
Additional thing, if you are not aware of it, the AIC conference is the 4th week of September, which would normally be the Plan Commission meeting, and I'm going. I don't know if Joe, are you going to be in attendance?
I haven't signed up yet. I don't know if I can peel away that much time during the week to
I
be.
know I will not be here on the 26th. They moved the council meeting to the first week in October, if that helps you. But, I mean, not like I have to be here, but you need numbers.
Yeah, that leaves us 6. maybe 7. John Carr.
If I do wind up signing up, I'll let you know. But right now, I can't be away for that many days.
We might push
that far from home. So
Okay,
It might not be enough that you have to have a meeting in September.
so if we have 2 or more out, we'll probably try to reschedule it for October.
Anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Oh,
Yeah, I got one quick thing.
yes.
As you know, our comprehensive plan, it was adopted in 2009. Just recently, I attended 2 NERC meetings last week, and I think I received money, at least cover 80% of the cost of hiring a professional planning firm to help us revise our 20-year comprehensive plan. The money, I'll have to apply for it, but I had a good conversation. I also got a price on $120,000. Not full rewrite, but just basically update. I think that's all we really need. So the grant would cover 80% of that. I'll find out more, but hopefully we can get moving on that first, second quarter next year. But just want to give you that brief update. So
The comprehensive plan is the precursor to the joint zoning ordinance changes.
Yep. Usually you update the comprehensive plan, your 20-year plan, before you do the zoning ordinance. But if it's something that's needed,
Yeah, and the update is statutorily required.
All right.
oh yeah, definitely. So,
Wow, that was only 14 years ago, Mitch.
yeah,
No problem.
they say it's a 20-year plan, but you're supposed to update every 12 to 14. We're kind of.
All right. There's a motion on the floor to adjourn. A second. All those in favor say aye.
I
Aye. We're adjourned.